Hey guys, Paul here from Military History Gear Review, and today we are checking out another bushcrafters, campers, hikers favorite, maybe the all-time favorite backpack. This is the LC2 Medium a.l.i.c.e pack. So stick around. Alright guys, so the a.l.i.c.e pack. The a.l.i.c.e pack is much beloved by the veterans that used it, by bushcrafters, backpackers today, and with good reason. It's an excellent pack. So let's talk a little bit about why exactly it's so loved, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of how it came to be. So the a.l.i.c.e pack is a nylon canvas pack with an aluminum tubular frame and detachable shoulder straps. It features a main pocket. Within the main pocket is a smaller radio pouch. It has 3 side pockets. It also, in the LC2 variant, has 3 small pouches on the top, and of course a map pouch inside the flap. Its 2 canvas webbing straps allow you to strap gear to the outside. As you can see here, I've got my bedroll and my hiking poles. It also has a series of canvas webbings to attach additional gear, right? Because it's impregnated nylon, and because the top has a rubberized surface that you can kind of see there, it's water resistant, if not waterproof. These pockets are also pretty well liked because they have these small eyelets here that allow water to drain. So you sometimes will even hear of the users that would get these fully submerged in a pond and have the water just drain out of them. As you can see here, the aluminum frame is 4 tubes that run in a square around the a.l.i.c.e pack. It has a shelf and a padded waist strap. This was Dick Kelty's contribution to the a.l.i.c.e pack. Of course, it has 2 reinforcing aluminum bars here. So simple, but very, very, very effective and functional. The earliest rucksack that looked approximately like the a.l.i.c.e was actually the Army's M1942 mountain rucksack. This was a specific haversack for troops assigned to mountaineering units that was extremely heavy, but had a similar basic design of a main pocket, a map flap, and 3 exterior pockets. It also had a very heavy steel frame, and while it didn't feature a waist strap, it had a sort of kidney pad where the waist was clearly meant to go. Now, that rucksack design seemed to have spread all over the world. It was used by, obviously, the US Mountain Forces. That then spread to the Chinese communists, who used it to great success in their insurgent campaign against the Chinese Republican government, and in turn spread to the North Vietnamese Army, where another generation of US troops encountered it and found it to be a vastly superior rucksack. So the Army adopted a version of this, again similar in the general design, in that it was an aluminum frame and a 3 side pocket, 1 main pocket setup, but it had some issues. First off, because it was made of canvas, when it got wet, instead of drying out, it would experience dry rot and it would hold on to that water, making an already pretty heavy backpack even heavier. Second, it really didn't have enough space. It was still too small, and soldiers frequently would have to improvise ways to strap their gear to the outside of that pack. The other major influence on rucksack design between World War II and the Vietnam War was Dick Kelty. Dick Kelty was not associated with the Army. He was in fact an aircraft engineer in World War II and later for Lockheed Martin, who was just an avid outdoorsman. And at Lockheed Martin, he noticed that some of the new manufacturing materials like aluminum and parachute nylon had real potential in making a lighter weight, more effective backpack. And so he, in his garage, manufactured a simple framed backpack with a waist strap for stability and a nylon parachute fabric pocket or exterior, and it changed the backpacking world. It became the model of all the backpacks from then on, and the Army wasn't blind to this. So when they started looking at redesigning their rucksacks, of course they were going to borrow Dick Kelty's innovative waist strap and aluminum frame design. And so in 1965, U.S. Army said, hey, we need to take a hard look and really develop the right rucksack for the Vietnam War. And remember, 1965 was still 3 years before the height of the war. And so the Army set out to try to develop what would become the a.l.i.c.e pack. However, the Army, well, they're experts at making boondoggles. And this was a classic example of Army boondoggling. There were so many stakeholders that had to weigh in on this rucksack redesign. Initially, it was a project run by the Army's Natick Labs, and the engineers at Natick Labs looked at the problems with the existing rucksack, made the modifications, and produced something that is pretty proximate to the modern a.l.i.c.e pack. However, because the Army had so many stakeholders who wanted a say, and they just gave more and more and more organizations the chance to weigh in, demand modifications, force retesting, just to list a couple: U.S. Army's Material Command, Natick Labs, the Army Support Center, the Army Infantry Board, the Army Tropical Test Center, the Army Arctic Test Center, the Test Center General Equipment, something called Retivity, Commanding General of the Infantry School in Fort Benning, the NCO Board at Fort Benning, U.S. Army Europe, and another round, and a second round through U.S. Army Material Command. This is an insane menagerie of people, and none of them had fundamental issues with the a.l.i.c.e pack, but every single one of them wanted changes, primarily to eyelets or straps or minor changes to fit. But each time, the a.l.i.c.e pack had to be redesigned and rerun through its testing. The result was that despite the fact that this was designed with the intention of providing an outstanding world-class rucksack to troops in Vietnam, this rucksack never went to the field until long after the Vietnam War was over. This wasn't standard issue until 1973, almost 8 years in development. So while the a.l.i.c.e pack is a great result, it was just too late to help the soldiers who needed it the most, which was the soldiers of Vietnam. Now, the rucksack still saw service in Panama, Grenada, and in Desert Storm, but at the end of the day, the Army really needed this and really designed this to be the right rucksack for Vietnam. And in that, despite being an outstanding product, it was late to the battlefield. Alright guys, so we took the pack out, we did an overnight with it, we talked about the history. So what's the verdict? Does the a.l.i.c.e pack hold up to the hype? Well, in my opinion, in terms of space, absolutely. This thing can hold a ton of gear, and the fact that it has 6 exterior pockets lets me put my gear where I want it so that I can access crucial gear quickly and still have my bulky gear on the inside pocket. Another perk of the a.l.i.c.e pack is that the main pocket is deep and wide, which means that if you're looking for a particular piece of gear, that wide mouth means you can easily dig it. Whereas a lot of modern commercial backpacks are narrow and thin, which means that to get at the bottom, you either have to open it up from the bottom out or take out tons and tons of pieces of equipment before you can find the gear you're looking for. Now the downsides. The external frame is great for bulky gear of varying weight sizes, but it pushes your center of gravity back, and that can be annoying for some users. Similarly, the aluminum external frame backpack to carry only 50 pounds is something that really most commercial backpacks, we now have better materials and better manufacture, and so that's not really as necessary. Similarly, the integrated waterproofing is nice, but it's not fully waterproof, and it will still get soaked through. And again, most commercial backpacks are going to have a waterproof cover that you put over the entire backpack that keeps the whole thing dry, instead of sort of the mid-level compromise of the a.l.i.c.e pack. My third problem is that the a.l.i.c.e pack is one size fits all. So for me personally, if I want the shoulder straps to fit tight and snug against my shoulders, that means that the waist pack has to sit on my lumbar spine, and that's really quite irritating. And you can't do that if you're hiking for more than a couple of hours. And that's a real issue. Now you can loosen the straps and have the waist strap rest lower on you, but there's a compromise there because of course now the pack is fitting looser and is shifting on your back. Modern packs, you'll buy the right pack for you, or in the case of the MA.L.I.E., you can actually, there's enough adjustments to be made that you can tailor that frame to your waist and torso size. But still, I don't know if I would pay the $135 that a used a.l.i.c.e pack goes for online, but I absolutely can see why these packs have an incredible cult following. They truly are one of the most well-designed packs, military surplus packs out there. For a day hiker, hunter, or backpacker, the a.l.i.c.e pack is absolutely a desirable, high-performing piece of gear. So thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys got to learn something cool about the a.l.i.c.e pack. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like, please remember to subscribe, and until next time, I will see you guys on the trail.